If you've ever heard gardeners rave about biochar but felt stuck because every tutorial starts with metal drums, fancy kilns, or tools you don't own, this article is for you. Here on Soil Power, we believe soil regeneration shouldn't depend on money, equipment, or perfection. It should depend on understanding nature and working with what's already around you. I've made biochar the hard way. I've watched others overcomplicate it. And after years of experimenting in real gardens, not labs, I can confidently say this. The easiest way to make biochar requires nothing but fire, plant waste, and timing. No barrel, no drum, zero cost. Let me walk you through it step by step, the way I'd explain it to a fellow gardener standing next to me in the field. So, what is biochar really, and why does it work? Biochar isn't magic ash or burned wood. It's carbon-rich plant material that's been burned in low oxygen, leaving behind a porous structure that doesn't break down easily. Those tiny pores are what make biochar powerful. They hold nutrients, trap moisture, shelter beneficial microbes, and keep fertility locked in your soil instead of washing away. Think of biochar as a long-term soil memory. Compost feeds plants for a season. Biochar improves soil for decades. The mistake most people make is assuming biochar needs special equipment to control oxygen. In reality, fire already knows how to do this, if you work with it instead of fighting it. The simplest principle is this: burn from the top, not the bottom. Here's the secret most guides skip. Oxygen control doesn't require metal containers, it requires how you arrange your fire. When you burn plant material from the bottom up, everything turns to ash. But when you burn from the top down, the lower material heats and carbonizes before oxygen reaches it. That's biochar. This method is sometimes called a top-lit burn, but don't let the name scare you. It's as basic as stacking sticks and lighting a match. You don't need special wood, really. In fact, the best biochar comes from what gardeners already throw away: dry prunings, small branches, maize stalks, sunflower stems, bamboo pieces, coconut shells, and woody weeds all work beautifully. The key is dryness. Wet material smokes, wastes heat, and creates poor char. Avoid soft green leaves and kitchen scraps for this method. Save those for compost. Biochar works best when made from woody, fibrous plant material. Cut nothing fancy. No sizing rules. Nature isn't measuring sticks, and you don't need to either. Find an open, safe area away from buildings and overhanging branches. Bare soil is perfect. If your soil is valuable garden soil, scrape a shallow patch nearby and use that instead. Start by stacking your dry material into a loose pile. Don't pack it tightly. Air gaps matter at the beginning. Place thinner sticks and dry twigs at the top, thicker pieces below. Light the fire from the top, not the bottom. I know this feels wrong at first, especially if you're used to campfires, but trust the process. The top layer burns actively, consuming oxygen. The heat moves downward, carbonizing the material underneath instead of letting it burn to ash. You'll notice something important. The fire stays clean, bright, and almost smokeless once it gets going. That's a good sign. This isn't a light it and walk away process. Biochar rewards attention. As the fire burns downward, the top layer will turn white or gray with ash. Beneath it, you'll see blackened, glowing material. That black layer is your biochar forming. If you let the fire continue too long, oxygen will reach that char and turn it into ash. Timing is everything. Once most of the pile has blackened, but before it collapses into ash, it's time to stop the burn. Stopping the fire without ruining the biochar is key. The simplest way to stop the burn is water. Pour it gently and evenly over the pile. You'll hear sizzling, steam, and crackling. Yeah, that's normal. If water is scarce, you can also smother the pile with soil sand or even fresh green leaves. The goal here is to cut off oxygen completely. Don't rush to move it, let it cool fully. Hot biochar exposed to air can still burn away if disturbed too early. When cool, what you'll find is lightweight, black, brittle material that crushes easily in your hands. That's real biochar. Crushing and charging, that's how you turn char into real soil power. Now raw biochar is pretty powerful on its own, but if you add uncharged biochar straight to your garden, it can actually steal nutrients from your soil, at least for a while. Honestly, this is one of the biggest mistakes beginners make. Before you add biochar to your garden, it really needs to be charged with nutrients and life. First, you gotta crush it. Don't worry, you don't need powder, just small pieces about the size of maize grains are perfect. You can step on it, pound it with a stick, or even just rub the pieces together by hand. After that, soak it in something alive. Compost tea, urine diluted with water, animal manure slurry, liquid compost, or even some good nutrient-rich gray water will all do the trick. Let it sit for at least a few days. Honestly, the longer the better. What you're really doing here is filling those microscopic pores with nutrients and microbes so your soil can benefit right away. So, once charged, biochar becomes incredibly forgiving. You can mix it into compost, scatter it lightly on your beds before planting, or even blend it right into planting holes. And you really don't need large amounts. Even small applications make a difference over time. Biochar really shines in poor soils, sandy ground, compacted clay, and gardens that struggle with moisture extremes. It improves drainage when soils are waterlogged, and it also improves water retention when soils dry out. This is exactly why biochar fits perfectly into regenerative gardening. It doesn't force growth. It supports soil life, and soil life does the rest. Gardening shouldn't depend on buying solutions. The most resilient systems are built from understanding cycles, fire, carbon, decay, and renewal. This method works whether you're farming acres or growing food behind your house. It works in rural areas, urban spaces, and honestly, anywhere plant waste exists. Most importantly, it turns what people see as waste into long-term fertility. That's real soil power. Biochar doesn't need to be complicated. Nature has been making it through wildfires for millions of years. We're simply learning how to guide the process gently and responsibly. If you take one thing from this article, let it be this: you don't need permission, money, or equipment to improve your soil. You just need observation, patience, and a willingness to learn from the land. If this article helped you see biochar differently, share it with another gardener who's struggling with tired soil. And if you want more grounded real-world gardening knowledge like this, make sure you subscribe to Soil Power on YouTube and turn on notifications. Healthy soil changes everything. Let's rebuild it together.